Hi, this is Unrivaled Skyrim bringing you another Rome Total War online battle. I am playing as the Macedonians, and this is a 5-player free-for-all battle played on the grassy flatlands. Rules were CWB and is a 15k denarii battle. Here's my general with the cool looking skin from Bella's mod, or skin and map pack. If you want, I can put a link to the mod in the description, so all your generals, instead of having the generic skin, they can have the actual skins that they have during campaign. And I have a relatively balanced build: 5 companion cavalry, 5 royal pikemen, and 6 archers. There's the SPQR Romans, and there's the Parthians. Lots of cataphracting units and 2 Persian cav. This is score resolution, so whoever gets the most kills or most meaningful kills gets the victory. And there's the Scythian player, and those are the Sarmatian noble women. I've never seen those units used before. I didn't even know they existed before this battle, but I guess everyone you learn something new every day. There's the Julii Roman. That was the host. His name was Lionheart. He has Praetorian Cav upgraded and Exilia along with legionary cohorts, and I think his general unit was a legionary first cohort. And I currently have my men in loose formation, all my units in loose formation, because I figured that there's a Parthian player and a Scythian player, so there's bound to be a bunch of horse archers roaming around the map. So I figured I'd cut my losses and have all my men in loose formation. I did notice that I was going to be deploying possibly next to the Parthians. And it looks like he's going towards the Romans. By the way, this footage is live, but the commentary isn't live. I forgot to switch on my mic when I recorded with Fraps. Oh, I forgot. This is the second time in a row that I've forgotten to do this, so I'm gonna have to record it once again while editing this video. Nice. Right here, I'm just checking the SPQR Romans, the amount of upgrades that he has on his units, and it looks like these two guys are about ready to engage each other. And those are the headhunting maidens, which have those armor-piercing axes. They do quite an amount of damage on enemy cavalry units. Those are the Sarmatian nobles. So he's got a variety of cavalry units in his arsenal. And right here, this is when they engage each other. And this is when I decide to send out 2 of my companions, or 3. To try to engage both their cavalry units, so maybe I can manage to at least rout quite a number of all those cavalry units and get a decent amount of kills. It doesn't matter if you're the last man standing, but it matters if you get the most meaningful kills. So it doesn't matter if you lose. Well, it does matter if you lose, but I'm just saying. I'm just more willing to gamble some of my units in order to get some kills. Right there, I charge his retreating Sarmatians and Samaritans and rout them, but his headhunting maidens turn around and engage my guys, and they get quite a number of kills off of my companions, which I was not so pleased about. And there I saw the SPQR Roman was turning around, attacking my guys, and meanwhile those Scythian archers are wreaking havoc on the backs of my companions. So I had to get out of there, because and at this moment the game, someone was having connection problems. I think the Parthian player was. Yeah. Highland goes. But I'm trying to run my companions out of there. Now I'm trying to run the rest of my units so they can help rescue my somewhat depleted troops that had engaged against the Scythians. There I noticed the Parthian turned around after marching towards the Romans, and I try to regroup my army to face that threat. Right now the Roman is pretty much giving it to the Scythians. He's wreaking havoc on the Scythians' army because he's neglecting to pay attention to the Romans, and instead he's fixated on trying to shoot my guys. I can understand that, but I would have figured you would want to help defend your own troops and try to fend off those Romans who are wreaking havoc on your other units, but instead he's fixated on my army. It's not a big deal, but I'm just saying. But the range on those noble women are awesome. I mean, they're pretty far away, and they're still hitting my archers. So I'm gonna try to return fire right here. And he doesn't have them in Canterbury circle, thank goodness. So they're just gonna stand there and allow themselves to get shot by my archers. See that? So it works out for me. I'm gonna try to send out one of my cavalry units, one that's fresh, or two of my units to chase him down. It was right here. I almost caught them, but look at that! Shoot! they just fling away. I mean, I was like 2 feet from catching them, but they're fast. I wish I could go back. Well, I could go back and watch that. Instant slow motion and just see how close I was to getting them. So I did manage to rout one of his noble women, and I'm trying to chase that other unit, but it's just too fast. There's no way I'm gonna catch it with my heavy companions. And I figure, well, it's only one archer unit that's somewhat depleted, so I'm just gonna disregard it pretty soon, at least. Well, no, here I kind of try to outsmart my enemy and try to attack it from multiple points. But once again, look at this, how close my unit gets. Look at that. It was like from 4 feet. I missed by like 4 or 5 feet, if that. Yeah, I'm trying to trash talk my opponent. He said I'm not very good at horse archers or something like that. And I said, well, you're good at running away. A little bit of trash talk is alright. Nothing too serious though, or you can't be calling your opponent names or using profanity. I mean, you can, but I don't know. I just look down upon it a little bit. I mean, after all, it's just a game. I would imagine most people play just to have fun. Some people take it to extremes. Oh well, you're always gonna get that kind of crowd in online multiplayer matches, lobbies, especially the lobbies. I mean, these guys talk about the most random things. I mean, beyond random. It's always fun to wait for someone to join your game, or wait till someone starts up a match, just to look at the ridiculous comments in the lobby section. Alright, right here, the Roman and me are lining up for battle. Meanwhile, the Scythian player is still taking pot shots at my at my archers. He's gonna get a few kills, but nothing too detrimental. And I noticed that his Lionhearts, the Julii Romans, his archers are unupgraded. Although they're archer auxilia, so they do outrange my archers by far. And right here, I make a pretty bold move. Well, I would say it's bold, but I move half of my archers all the way to the left, so I can get flanking shots on his legionnaires. I say it's bold because I'm kind of, well, I'd say they're not too far away from the rest of my troops, but I don't know, it's not smart to have missile troops relatively unguarded. But his cavalry is on the opposite side, not opposing my missile troops at all. So I'm gonna try my best to get as many flanking shots I can on his general unit, which is in the legionary first cohort unit, which is in the middle of his other legionnaires. Now I put one unit of archers in front of my phalanx so they can soak up any Pila. Or a charge. And right there, the Julii Roman unit caught the Scythian player napping. Excuse me. Yeah, it's always good to if you can try to whittle your opponents with your missile troops as much as possible before engaging. That always makes it easier on the bulk of your force to fight their infantry. Right there, I'm getting a few kills right there on his general's unit. Now, meanwhile, I'm trying to keep the rest of my archers away from his, so they won't get any casualties. And right here, this is the decisive moment right here. I decide, well, you know what? I'm not going to allow his archer auxilia to wreak havoc on my light infantry, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut to the chase and make a direct charge. And I'm going to try to charge through his archer auxilia and plow straight into his Praetorians. And meanwhile, you have the SPQR Romans in the pincers movement coming in on the Julii Romans flank or rear. And right there, I kind of micromanaged that unit right there, and they kind of charged without phalanx formation. Right there, I'm trying to engulf his cavalry. Boom! Yeah. slowly but surely I'm winning the cavalry fight. At the same time I'm trying to keep my archers alive. Right here I'm going to get a relatively decent hammer and anvil on his troops right there. And always try to keep your cavalry mobile. If you let them stand and fight against infantry units, especially against infantry units, then they'll be cut down. But if you keep them mobile, it'll reduce their casualties, and that's what cavalry are made for, is their mobility and their ability to strike at units from behind. And right here I saw this gap, and his troops are facing the other direction, so I'm gonna, well, relatively other direction. Well, I'm going to plow straight into that general's unit, and it routes. 2 units route.
Now he flees the field like a...
I killed the enemy general right there.
The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemy's hearts.
And I think that's it with the Julii Romans.
The gods be praised! The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they
kind of got a bum rap. He kind of got pincered between 2 armies. I mean, sometimes I didn't plan for anything like that to happen, but it just, because I think the Parthian player was really giving it to the Roman player. I think the Parthian player defeated the SPQRs, all his Praetorian cavalry. So he's just trying to retreat, and he saw that the Julii wasn't facing that direction, so just try to get as many kills as possible. And I'm trying to run down the rest of those legionnaires that are fleeing over towards the right. Yeah, always in a score resolution free-for-all battle, always try to run down as many fleeing routing units as possible. Those are just free kills. I mean, some kills don't count as much as others, like peasants versus killing urbans. So it's not really who gets the most kills, who gets the meaningful kills in that sense. But still, I think, still try to kill every single unit possible. Because everything factors out to the scored resolution. And the Parthian player, he's relatively healthy. I think the only units that are pretty much destroyed or defeated are his Persian cavalry. I think he had 2 units that they were Persian cavalry, not just regular horse archers. He holds the standard. And this is when the battle gets really interesting, when I have to face off against this Parthian player. I really had to test out I really got a pretty good test of my micromanaging abilities during this engagement. Not that they're good at all, but I think recently I've gotten somewhat better at micromanaging. Yeah, there's 1 unit of Parthian horse archers. I mean, Persian cavalry. Right there, I think the SPQR Roman, I think he left the game, so his remaining troops are controlled by the AI. So the AI is trying to chase down that cataphract unit from behind, and I guess he didn't even notice that, or didn't even care. Well, he should have cared, because he could have easily turned around and used his armor-piercing maces on that AI-controlled Praetorian Cav. So I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone. Try to kill both of those units because he's isolated and the other unit's controlled by the AI. But I only managed to catch that AI controlled unit, and I got out of there because I saw that his cataphracts were relatively close to the remainder of his army. Yeah, he's still chasing down other units. Wait, actually, no. The AI controlled units ran down his horse archers or his Persian Cav. So that helps me out. This doesn't help me. The rest of those Praetorian cavalry are just pretty much suicide. Allow him to get more free kills, pretty much. Oh man, excuse me. Man, so I'm gonna march forward and I'm gonna rush my archers so they can get some rear shots on this cataphract unit.
The gods be praised! The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
And it's good to have archers. Well, I don't know. I guess I can say that because in this battle they were relatively crucial for me to win this battle because they get a whole lot of rear shots on his cataphract units. So I'm going to say they were pretty much important in this game. And right now, I think the majority of them have at least half ammunition, so that's relatively decent. Plus, I'm going to concentrate fire as much as I can. So if I see a cataphract unit with their backs against me, I'm going to concentrate all my fire on them. It's not going to do as much damage as it would a non-cataphract cavalry unit would receive, but still is going to get a few kills. You know, every kill will be relatively good. Right here, I try to catch his camels off guard because I saw that he was trying to surround me from multiple sides with his forces. Right here, I turn around and I attack, counter his cataphracts, charging my royal pikemen. But they run away. Trying to keep all my units together. I can't allow my units, any single of my unit being isolated, because then he can surround them from multiple sides with his cataphracts or his camel cataphracts and easily take them out. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That's uncalled for. Yeah, in this kind of situation, most players would go into a new box or a new circle and just make a square using using your phalanx units, your royal pikemen, and keeping all your other units in the center. But under any circumstance, I don't really do that, even though I don't condone it if you need to do it. I mean, I do condone the noob square if it's the beginning of the battle, and that's how you start out the match. I mean, I find it easy to defeat because you're giving your opponent the incentive, or, you know, you just, unless you like corner camp or something, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. But no, I don't go quite into noob circle into this game. I'd rather lose or admit defeat than go into noob square. Not so much lose, but allow my opponent to get the victory, because if they fairly defeated my if I had cavalry and archers, if they pretty much defeated those units and all I had left was like 4 depleted I don't know, phalanx pikemen or royal pikemen or whatever, then I would just admit defeat or just play the game but allow him to, you know, surround my guys and eventually defeat them, like how my opponent's trying to do right now. But right now I still have cavalry, you know, and I didn't quite do a very good job of making sure they survived this whole entire match. I mean, they did engage against 3 different opponents, 3 different armies, but I mean, right now they're almost neutralized. I mean, some of these units only have what, 2, 1. The only healthy unit has only 16. My general's only down to 1. I mean, pretty much only one of my units is healthy. But still, I want to keep them as long as I can, so I can still have some maneuverability. And I see what my opponent's doing. He's trying to attack me from 2 different sides, and I see that some of his cavalry aren't facing mine, so I'm going to be able to pick off some of them. And I think I did manage to kill a few of his horses right there, which is always good. Yeah, I killed a few more right there. And this is when I make not a drastic mistake, but, well, I would consider it drastic. But I'm trying to catch that camel unit napping, but he saw that coming, so he does get a charge off. And I didn't run my phalanx units back in time, so my cavalry's all destroyed.
Away his life, and now
he was using his armor-piercing maces. If you're using cataphracts, always try to use your armor-piercing maces by clicking Alter. Well, for me, it's clicking Alter, then right-click, so that they, instead of using their spears, they're fighting with their maces, and those maces negate the armor stat pretty much. I think that's how it works. And so it basically makes it so the other unit basically has no armor. Oh no, they have no armor, but they still have defense. But it's really useful, especially against other cavalry units. And in my opinion, the cataphract is pretty much the best cavalry unit in the game, as long as you use them correctly. You can't have them running across the whole entire map, the whole entire game. They will get exhausted fairly quickly because they're so heavily armored from the head to toe, both the man and the horse, so that they get exhausted relatively quick, and their usefulness if they're exhausted is drastically lowered as of any cavalry unit, but you know, more so on the cataphract. I like them. I pretty much use them if I'm using the Seleucids. Sometimes I mix them up. I mix and match and complement them with companions, and that's always a good choice. And that's a good thing about the Seleucids is their wide variety of cavalry. And Mastodons are they're a relatively great faction. Cretan archers, companions, and royal pikemen. And light lancers are very versatile, very capable. I mean, they won't be able to hold their own in a prolonged engagement with other heavy cavalry, but they have the same charge bonus as a companion cav, so they can still be very useful in getting rear charges, but they're not as durable as a companion. But still, they're very fast, and they still have the same charge bonus. I think 9 charge bonus. So very capable units. In Parthia, I think I've only used Parthia once, and I did save that battle replay, and I'll more than likely record it and post it. But I don't know. I like more the factions that are more balanced and have somewhat a good selection between infantry, missile troops, and good cavalry. Factions such as Armenia and Scythia and I'd say Numidia don't really have very good cavalry. That's wrong. Infantry. I relatively stay away from those factions because I prefer the factions that are more balanced. Although I haven't used many skirmish armies at all, but I've been destroyed by a whole bunch of... If you know how to use a skirmish type army, then there's almost no stopping you. Like Numidia and the Britons, those are probably... In Egypt, oh man, I've lost so many battles against Egypt, and just... I don't know, it gets frustrating at times. And I do lose quite a number of battles, and I will post a whole bunch of them if I deem them watchable, of course. Of course, you know, can't make a lousy loss. And right here, he's gonna catch that unit, pretty much isolated, and it's only down to 9 units, so it's not gonna be very durable. And he manages to deplete all of its men. So he gets away with a minor victory right there. And right here he's going to try again to charge in my unit, try to catch it off guard. And right here, try to use my archers in melee as well. Since they're depleted in ammunition, they might as well do something. So he is trying to attack my guys with one unit at a time, and right there I managed to swarm that cataphract unit and managed to rout it. So it worked in my favor that instead of trying to isolate various of my units, instead he don't know, he only attacked using one unit at a time. If I was him, I'd try my best to isolate as many phalanx units as possible, and then try to bait them in a trap so I could charge them from multiple sides at the same time. I think, although this player is very good, I mean, I was alert and always on my guard, but I think he should have been a little bit more aggressive, especially after he defeated all my cavalry. That's when he should have tried his best to isolate as one by one each one of my phalanx units and try to corner them and surround them on all sides instead of going after my units, you know, one by one with his camel cataphracts and his regular cataphracts. And right there, I think that's where I completely run out of ammo. So I'm just gonna. I saw that he isolated his general from his camels, so I decided, well, you know, I got so many archers, they're bound to kill. I mean, they may take a bunch of casualties, but they're bound to kill that armored general's unit. But I quickly discovered that that's not what's going to happen. That none of my archers are getting any kills. In fact, they're being slowly slaughtered. So I'm going to try to save them with one of my. So that was a gamble. Not a very good gamble. You know, I lose quite a few archers there. Oh well. I guess I'll know next time not to charge fairly good upgraded General's Armored Bodyguard with just archers, even if there's a whole swarm of them. Yeah, I'll write that down in my notes. I'll be sure to do that. Alright, this is the situation now. I'm trying to regroup my dudes. And they're relatively fresh, I think. And I think his guys are too. Well, I think my archers are tired. Another thing is try to keep your units as fresh as possible. Don't always run them around, especially if it's the summertime. Sometimes people will have it during the winter time, and that'll reduce the amount of stamina they lose if they're running through the terrain, especially if they're running uphill during like a like in the desert or a desert map or something like that. They'll lose their stamina relatively quickly, even if they have if they're a unit with good stamina, such as the Royal Pikemen, or I think the Spartans had like the best stamina in the game, pretty much. Okay, he's trying to move both of his camels in position relatively close to my men. But I'm keeping a close eye on both of them. And I had my phalanx look like that because I want him to charge in exactly like that and then like pounce on them, like get them in the center and trap them and impale them with my spears. But it doesn't quite work like that because one of his camels charges through one of my phalanx units. and they all managed to run away from the other side. So he did manage to rout one of my archers back there. I think it had 27 troops, 20-some troops, and he killed quite a number of my guys. So that was another minor victory for him. Well, I wouldn't say minor, but minor in the sense that the amount of kills that he got. But I did notice that unit was came back from routing, so I'm going to try to make it regroup with the rest of my army and get it back into action. Get back into action! But he eventually, like right now, yeah, he sees him now. He noticed that unit's isolated, so he's gonna charge, and I'm gonna try to run away. But his unit is fresh, to my astonishment, because that unit seems like it's been running for like 10 minutes now. So he easily catches that archer unit. I was gonna try to make it run, so it'd be chasing it for a while, and so it would tire out tire out his general's unit. But I managed, well, right here I decide, well, I think he's fixated on running down that unit, so I'm gonna just try to catch these camels napping. So I'm gonna send one unit to the wide left to run past his units and try to run behind them so he can spear them from behind. And right here I actually do manage to catch his units napping, and actually this paid off right here. I do manage to spear his units from behind and then trap them. So I managed to rout both of those camel units. One unit beyond recognition, only one unit. The other unit's still relatively healthy, so it does come back from routing. I think it has like 13 men in it. Yeah, that one only has one guy still in it. Yeah, 13. 8. So at this point, I thought, man, I just pretty much neutralized his camels, and he only has 8 generals bodyguard. I was fairly confident that I had this in the bag. There ain't no way this guy's gonna win unless I let him. But I'll never be truly. Never truly think you're gonna win. Always be sure. Always make sure. And there he tried to charge the rear of my men. I think he managed to get a few kills. Yeah. So he's still getting kills. And remember, this is score resolution. At this point, I didn't know how many kills he had gotten previously before we started fighting each other. So you never know. Don't be so sure you're gonna win a scored resolution just because you're the last man standing. Someone can win and still have all their units have been routed and their army defeated. You can still win if you got more kills than the person who was last man standing. So don't let off. Don't make it easier for for the enemy just because you're too overly confident that you've already won. Right there, I catch his cataphract for his his cataphract camels from camping again, and that does it for his camel unit. So he's down to one Eastern Armored General's Bodyguard unit. That's what it's called. And he's gonna one ditch effort. He's gonna try to get as many kills as possible and just charge my guys when they're out of phalanx and hope for the best. But my guys quickly
the enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
Pretty much all of them. Even see me typing. Even I was a little bit skeptical that I didn't have enough kills, and I would like to thank my my opponents for playing against me in this game. I'd like to thank the host, Lionheart, for hosting this battle. It was very fun, and I got to test out, well, work on my micromanaging, and I think overall I did a pretty good job keeping my units intact. And that's it. Please like and subscribe to my channel. See ya.